And the new Huskers head coach, Matt Rhule, said this: I am a process guy.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey gang, DP here, Derrick Pearson, 927 Ticket, Lincoln, Nebraska, home of the Fighting Huskers, the University of Nebraska. Lincoln, yesterday, big news, and we'll talk about said news. We'll talk about the press conference introduction of Nebraska new head football coach Matt Rhule. We'll talk about that coming up. I want to thank you folks for making Locked On Huskers the first watch, first listen, first source of information each and every single day. Well done, well done, well done. We also want to thank folks from BetOnline for what they do for us. Again, providing the best odds, props, and lines each and every single day. It's where the game begins, BetOnline. The number that folks here in the Big Ten are going to pay attention to, 16 points. Michigan, 16-point favorite going into this week's Big Ten championship game against Purdue. Aiden O'Connell will play. So does that change the number? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how that goes. Well, thank you folks in advance for subscribing. Please do. You guys have increased the numbers. Greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you sharing the content. Appreciate your comments down in the comment section. Go ahead and put your comments down there. We greatly appreciate that as well. I am a process man. I am a what's next man. Those were the words of new Nebraska head football coach Matt Rhule. And we're not surprised by that. I went into watching the press conference with an empty slate. So I had to clear my brain and vacuum of the things that I thought I knew about Matt Rhule, the things that I thought about Trev Alberts, and the things that I thought about the Nebraska football program. And out of fairness, I wanted to be a process guy. I wanted to be a what's next guy. And in previous episodes of Locked On Huskers, I went through the process. And I kept asking what's next. And I said, you can identify the level and standard of a program and a team by the number of questions that you have about it. Those things remain true today. What's next for Matt Rhule and the football program? What's next for Trev Alberts? We came up with a list of questions, things that we were concerned about or wanted to know about. And at the top of this list was a relationship and a moving forward with Mickey Joseph. We still don't have those answers. And again, as you can't expect that day one, day two, all of the questions are answered. We're looking for more answers. And those questions exist, and they're loud questions. Because the person and the carekeeper who kept the program going and kept it moving forward in a positive direction and getting a win over Iowa was deemed necessary and mandatory by the fan base and often by the players who are on the roster. So the question still remains, and question one for me is, what is the status between Mickey Joseph and the Nebraska football program? What is the status? What is the relationship of Mickey Joseph and Matt Rhule? What is the relationship? What is the status of Mickey Joseph and Trev Alberts? Because that will answer questions for all the other things that we have questions about. If we're wiping a clean slate, and again, I eliminated all of these things on the board, and I simply went into the press conference with a blank slate, put all the questions away, and then simply said that I would react and respond to the comments made from the powers that be and the people in place. So Matt Rhule, when asked a question of the identity of this team, and I kept telling you in the precursor of this thing, the brand was going to be important. The brand was going to be the thing. It's the first thing. That's part of his philosophy. The brand. What is this thing going to be? And he said, well, we're going to dominate. We're going to be physical. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Okay, once I'm told that, then I'm left with the next question. Remember the process And then what's next? I'm following the coach's path and plan, the process and the plan. You're going to win up front. Can you win up front with what currently exists here at the University of Nebraska? Can you change the offensive and defensive lines quickly enough to make that statement true? And if the answer is yes, then I have to ask the next question. What's next? How? Because it wasn't done in the last 5 years. It wasn't done in the last 10 years. So how are you going to do it now? And what plan, which is the third part of Matt Rhule's philosophy, how you're going to do that then leads me to other questions. I don't have doubt. I just have questions. There's a difference. I'm not saying it can't be done. I just would like to hear what's next, because I was told that is the process. The process, what's next, day by day. What happens with Mickey Joseph? What happens with Bill Bush? What happens with Coach Rhule? Like, what happens? If we're talking offensive line, then have you talked to Coach Rhule about your status and standing with the team? Is there somebody else coming in? Is there a change of direction as well? Because if there's a change of direction, you have to wipe the board clean again and start over. Who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? The coach. Wipe the slate clean. What's going to be the offensive philosophy? Run game? Run game first. Run the damn ball. You're going to run the spread as you did. You're going to run RPOs. You're going to run. What are you going to do? Inside zone read, outside zone read. Is that the key? We didn't get those answers, so we still have questions. I want to know what's next. I want to know what the process is. I want to know what the plan is. Curiosity exists for a reason. We will know more in the incoming days. The changing of staff. We understand that there's a change in the strength and conditioning department. Oh my goodness. Getting rid of Coach Duval is a big deal. Changing the nutritionist is a big deal. Well, we're going to talk about that next and what it all means here on Locked On Huskers. Welcome back, gang. DP, Derrick, Pearson, 93.7 The Ticket, Lincoln, Nebraska, Locked On Huskers. And again, we thank you for what you do, for subscribing, sharing this information. And also we thank the folks at BetOnline, again, where the game begins, odds, props, lines, whatever your curiosities are about the games we care about. There's a place for you there on BetOnline to go through this. Georgia, a 16.5 point favorite with an over and under of 49.5, which means they really don't expect LSU to score many points against Georgia. That explosive offense, they're like, not so fast. We're not sure we're going to give you that. But it's going to be an interesting weekend with these championships. And BetOnline is a good place for you to land to get more information and to for your own entertainment. In finding out what the coaching staff is going to look like, of course, question 1 was Mickey Joseph. Question 1A, 1A is Mickey Joseph. 1B is Bill Bush. Then you get into the 2s and 3s of Rhule, Becton, Dawson, who has some Giants history similar to Rhule's. Then you have to kind of go back through history and remember what the process was for previous coaches. When they came in, did they implode the staff and then bring in their own people? And then what the result was from those people being together in previous cases. So those things apply. But yesterday, the first 2 changes that we are aware of and open and in full was the change that there would be a new strength and conditioning coach, a new direction with that. There'll be a new nutritionist, a new direction with that. What direction are we headed in? Why are we headed in that direction? Those are the things that are requested. These are the things that are necessary. What was the statement made about Coach Duval and the current condition and standing of the program? Like it's what statement is made. Now Husker Nation will have theirs, and you can leave your comments in the and your comments down in the comment section. But what was the current condition of the strength and conditioning program for Nebraska football? To say that a change was required means that there was something that you can add to it or something that was missing. And then the way that it was being handled, because the new direction of the strength and programming and conditioning program has to be tied to what Matt Rhule wants in those spaces. Like those things have to be stated. They have to be said. Nutrition, which Nebraska has prided itself over the past few years on its ability, on the standard of what it's doing for its student athletes, the type of nutrition that it's providing, the freedom and access, all the resources that are poured into this thing. And again, a big thing in this is what Nebraska has stated publicly about its strength and conditioning program. It's supposed to be a blue blood within a blue blood department within a blue blood program. That is supposed to be where it excels. Husker power is a thing. It's a meaningful, purposeful thing. And for Matt Rhule to come in and say that, well, something is either wrong or missing or needs to be added to strength and conditioning, and I'm going to make a change and go in a different direction. Now, I circle that and say I am truly looking forward to that announcement and that decision on who's going to run it. We know that there is an assistant strength and conditioning coach that's been added, but the lead guy hasn't been officially named yet, so we'll wait for that, and then we'll dive into that pool. When it comes to nutrition, wow, this is Pandora's box. Because if you're taking the lead nutritionist and saying that there is a change needed in how Husker football players are fed or what they're putting into their bodies, that is a thing you're doing on day one. This was done on day one. You can't go through YouTube and find out whether you're getting what you need with strength and conditioning or nutrition. There's sciences behind it. So I'm circling that. I'm looking forward to what Matt Rhule's statement is going to be on what the brand, what he wants Nebraska football players to look like, to perform like, what he wants them to put in their system, who gets to control that, how that'll be controlled, and then what the next step is going to be, who the players are going to be that are involved. There are a lot of questions in this thing. What I noticed in the press conference, he said, "Well, we expect Heisman Trophy winners. We expect to play for national for conference championships, and we're here to play for national championships, to win national championships." That's a GPS for you. That is a GPS. I told you he's going to talk about the brand, what he wants us to be. He wants us to be a physical team. He wants us to be a disciplined team. He wants us to be a strong team. He wants to control the lines of scrimmage on either side of the ball. He was going to have his hands. He's aware and connected to both sides of the ball. Then the process and the plan. And he's going to bring in, based on recent announcements of former Carolina Panther coaches, coordinators, group coaches, etc., that there will be a migration from Charlotte, North Carolina to Lincoln, Nebraska. And remember, these are the folks that coached with and for Matt Rhule in Carolina. Now, to speak to what we know that didn't go well in the NFL vacuum, in the NFL space. Can it transition and improve itself based on being at Nebraska? Remember, you're dealing with a different level of talent in the NFL. This is a development program, air quotes. Like Trev Albert said that Nebraska has to be the greatest developmental program in the country. And Matt Rhule's reputation is built on developing players. I'm just laying it out for you. That Matt Rhule's going to have his work cut out. He's already at work. He's bringing in. He's bringing in coaches. He's talking to players. But fact of the matter is, an absolute truth, we don't know everything yet. We'll get more information over time, and as we get that information, you and I will sit here and we'll have this discussion each and every single day, by day, by day, because that is the proper process. We'll be right back. All right, once again, thank you for hanging out on Locked On Huskers on DP, and we thank you for giving us this 20 plus minutes each and every single day. We thank the folks at BetOnline for providing content and details for us to talk about and share with you each and every single day. Utah and USC, and almost a pick'em game for the Pac-12 championship in Vegas. Compliment the BetOnline. Look, just for entertainment purposes, jump on BetOnline and poke around. It'll be good for the spirit, good for the soul. Subscribe, share, like, all of those things. I'll close it with this, because the fan in me wants to be excited about the Nebraska football hiring. The coach in me wants to believe in the Nebraska football hiring. The jock in me wants to believe in the leadership of the Nebraska football program. And you can base it on, we all have our own feelings about this thing. I'm basing it on what we know to be true and the facts. Opinion and speculation belong in another space in a different time. But I'm basing mine on being a process guy. I'm being a what's next guy. And what has been set in place is a space for us to have more questions about the brand, the plan, and the mission of Nebraska football under Matt Rhule. I don't have enough answers to either be excited or not excited about. I'm in the process. I'm literally in the process of trying to get more detail, more actual facts for how this is going to go down, why it's going to go down, and what it's supposed to look like when it goes down. Everything else would be speculation and unfair to Matt Rhule. It would be unfair to the fan base. It would be unfair to myself. I am going to be patient and go through this process day by day to get more information about what's next, what's happening, and how it's going to happen. The brand that was put in place was a more physical, line of scrimmage dominant Nebraska football team. That's a good starting point. We'll need more details about the rest, about the quarterback play, the quarterback style, size, what's required, what skill set one, the running back. Is this downhill runners? Is this stretch offense runners? Are these receivers? Are these vert guys? Are these RPO guys? Possession receivers? Offensive line? What type of guy? Every coach has his own definition of what an ideal offensive lineman will look like. Nebraska fans have their own ideas. I'll take your ideas. Put them in the comments. I'll address them as we go forward day by day. Closing with the 3. How about it? 1, 2, 3. Go Big Red!